Hello.
Hey, good evening. Happy Monday, and welcome to Altar of the Brew.
We are here at our normally scheduled time, and we are coming up with something new from March the Machines, trying to get in on the hype while it's still running.
Here we go.
But, there's some... trying to look at some of the more lesser considered stuff than the real big ticket, everybody's attracted to them right now, commanders that are coming out in the set. So we were looking, diving a little deeper, in other words.
Yeah, gonna have some more fun with this one. Think more like casual, even a little more powerful casual. Probably not high powered.
No.
And definitely not CEDH. So more fun. No real crazy expensive cards. This is kind of a unique commander too in what it does, kind of. So I'm kind of excited. I also made this bigger. Do you want me to shrink it back down so we fit better?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Sounds good. All right, so let's get started here. First commander of the night, or the commander of the night, is Hidetsugu and Kairi. 2 blue, black for legendary Ogre Demon Dragon.
That's a pretty sweet creature type.
5/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, brainstorm.
Yeah.
Draw 3, then put 2 back from your hand on top of your library in any order. When it dies, exile the top card of your library. Target opponent loses life equal to its mana value. If that card's an instant or sorcery, you can cast it without paying its mana cost, which I do believe puts it back in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So,
Important.
let's get started. We got the usual suspects of 36 lands with some MDFCs. We might add and change this around just in blue-black. Mostly things that people have in their collection. We got nine pieces of ramp right now. Maybe we'll go up or down some a little on this. Notables here: Thought Vessel and Decanter of Endless Water, just to keep that unlimited hand size, because it's a good chance we might draw some extra cards with this, and
Yep.
we don't really want to discard those for no reason. The usual suspects for mine and Steve's favorite: blue removal,
Yep.
Rapid, and Pongify. These 1 mana kill creature spells. Also, a 3/3 doesn't matter when you have a 5/4 commander.
Yep.
You can block it all day.
Like for flying commander.
Flying commander, indeed, yes. Let's see here. So, you want to talk about the strategy? What our thoughts are?
Yeah. So basically, what we're thinking is we want to get the dies trigger on this commander, but we don't want to be constantly losing the commander and having to recast it. We're starting at 5. So 5, 7, 9, 11 sounds terrible for trying to recast this thing a bunch of
Would
times.
not be good.
So there's kind of a couple ways that we thought about doing getting our dies trigger and abusing it. We were looking at some of the effects in black that we have at instant speed that offer us, hey, if this thing dies, get it back, such as Malakir Rebirth.
Yep.
Right, the MDC we've already got in there. And then the other way that we really thought of was cloning this thing.
Yeah, I want to clone the heck out of this thing.
Because every clone you get the, legendary rule is going to apply. We're not going to play the mirror boxes, the spark double, the Sakashimas. We're not going to play the ones that will let it survive. We want the ones that die.
So basically, Steve and I are looking for the cheapest possible clones to clone Hidetsugu that are not legendary clones, meaning they will die when you have it as a legendary copy. Because then you get around the whole needing to sacrifice it, because you get it state-based effects. You get to abuse the game rules, as it were,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite things. So basically, every clone you play will replace itself if it's copying Hidetsugu and Kairi, because you're going to get to brainstorm, which lets you draw 3 and then put 2 back. So you'll go up 1 card when you play it, and it costs you a card. So it will replace itself, but also because of state-based actions, having 2 legendaries the same name, you have to choose which one to sacrifice. You're going to sacrifice the clone and keep the commander, then you get the death trigger on it. So basically, cheap clones are you get both triggers on your commander. You don't lose any cards from it if your commander's out. With that, I do think protecting the commander with Swiftfoot Boots is going to be important in this deck.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and throw that one in to start.
Sure.
And then we can get going on talking about how you win with this deck, maybe.
Yeah. Because when you get to cast things for free, we don't want to cast 1 mana things. We want to cast the giant things.
I want to cast the things that cost all the mana, and 1 card costs most of the mana.
Yes.
Remember which one it is?
Enter the Infinite?
Enter the Infinite. I don't know if this is good for our deck. Is this even good? It just cost all the mana.
You just draw your whole deck.
But what does that do for you?
I don't know, something.
Do we even want to enter the infinite in this deck?
Yes.
Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your library, then put a card from your hand on top of your library. You have no maximum hand size until your next turn.
So you don't even have to discard.
Seems pretty dangerous to me. Although, if I think about this correctly, if you have enough mana, so we need like an Omniscience too. That's what we really need. But that'll be a fun card we talk about. Enter the Infinite. Obviously, pretty silly. Also, it would if you get it off of Hidetsugu's trigger, then you'll be able to 12 someone, which is also quite funny.
Right.
Beautiful artwork by Therese Nielsen on that.
Yeah.
Love those.
It is target opponent, so it's good. So one of the things that I thought about when I immediately thought of this kind of effect is the curiosity control play here, where Hidetsugu and Kairi are the ones dealing the damage, correct?
They are indeed.
Nope. It is not damage. Target opponent loses life equal to it.
Never mind. Curiosity will
Curiosity
not work.
does not work.
It's okay. It wasn't a key component.
Nerds.
I guess brainstorming and basically murdering your opponents.
All right. So if I want more cards, I want to turn the draw trigger into a more of a draw trigger then.
Okay.
So what if we did the old Teferi's Ageless Insight move?
So when you draw one, draw two instead? Is
Yeah.
that it? I'm a big fan. It's a 4-mana enchantment, I want to say.
Yeah, what's the 4-mana enchantment?
If you would draw a card, except the first one you draw on each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. So does this mean that we're going to draw 6?
Yes.
And then we put 2 back?
Yes.
And then, yeah, it seems great. Not a big fan of this particular frame, so I'm just going to change it up a little bit. But, what is that frame anyway? It's a unique
It's
one.
it's like the signature ones that they had in that core set. It was like Teferi color themed.
Looks like we have a few folks watching tonight.
Yeah.
Too. Cool. Feel free to chat us up, and if you got some cool ideas for some bomb diggity black and blue instants and sorceries, let us know. We got a couple in mind.
Yeah, bring all your favorite ridiculous spells.
I'm going to start with just some of the core pieces that I had thought about, or that we had talked about. So we want to be able to clone this Sun
Right.
gun.
So Phantasmal Image. For
Phantasmal
sure.
Image 2-mana clone that not only brainstorms but also triggers the death trigger. So very, very powerful in this deck. Also, and this is one of the important things about clones, global clones like Phantasmal Images. Sometimes their creature they have is just amazing. And you want a copy of it, which is just awesome. Or maybe you need a bunch of blockers, and that person, dead drop. You got it, John. That one's going to go in for sure, probably. But, sometimes they just play their Avengers into card. You're like, hey, now I have a bunch of blockers.
Yep.
Let's check out Dead Drop here. It's probably a sorcery. It makes sense to me.
Yep.
Dead Drop. 10 mana, Delve spell. Target player sacks 2 creatures. So deal somebody 10 and then make somebody else sack 2 creatures. Totally reasonable.
Yep.
And I like Delve spells a lot because we're planning on using some of the junky fetches like Maestro's Theater and Evolving Wilds, Obscura Storefront. These things kind of just pile up in your graveyard anyway. Removal spells, spells that help you protect your commander, stuff like that. And then all the clones that die. So
Yeah.
we should be able to cast these spells if we need to also. Not that I want to cast that damn thing, but...
No.
Alrighty. Let's see. A glass from... Oh, Mirror
Clones.
Image. Yep.
We also said that the instant and sorcery versions that make clones are more powerful because they are going to trigger and allow us to cast for free off the top.
Yep. It's going to be funny when we trigger Hidetsugu with, like, Phantasmal Image, and then we put another copy spell back on top, deal 3 to somebody, copy Hidetsugu again, deal 10 to the... Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be ridiculous. But there are a few cheaper creature ones, like Glasspool, which is also a land on the backside, which is amazing. Mirror Image and Phantasmal Image, that I think are just... They're so good on rate that I want to play them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Some of the other ones I had, here's one that I don't think many people know, but I have a bunch of these in my collection. Dance of Many. This is an old one, but good one for this particular deck. And normally Dance of Many, not a very good Magic card, and it's got a wall of text. And I'll just read you the Oracle on it because it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, otherwise this card is...
It just makes
hard
a token copy of a creature you control. And if Dance of Many were to leave, the token leaves. And if the token leaves, Dance of Many leaves. Basically, it's a 2-mana sorcery speed clone.
We're fine with that.
John likes Clone Legion. John, Steve, and I were talking about Clone Legion today, and I think this one is a banger for this deck. It just says copy all your opponent's creatures, and you get a copy of them all.
Yeah, all of them.
All of them. It's a sorcery.
Target opponent, though, right?
Oh, it's target opponent. I thought it was each opponent. For each creature target player controls. Ah, still good. Still good.
Yeah.
Also, you 9 to somebody if you get the Hidetsugu trigger off of it. I have to imagine that with all the brainstorming you're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to stack this deck really well, especially with the clone effects, because you're just going to have that brainstorm happening over and over and over again.
Imposter Mech does not work. I thought that one might work. It does not.
Ah, darn.
Because Imposter Mech makes a creature only a copy of something your opponent controls. So we don't want that one.
Once this loads up here, check this out. This one is a card that I have actually played before, and people laugh at me for playing, but I think this card's amazing. It's a Mirror Mockery. Just a little 2-mana aura. You put it on your commander, and it says, whenever the enchanted creature attacks, put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. And then you exile at the end of combat.
Our commander's a 5/4 flyer, so
Yeah.
I think we can attack with impunity.
Yeah, it's been pretty easy to attack with it, so just getting that for free every combat, getting a free trigger on your commander to brainstorm, and then also be able to dome someone / cast a free spell seems totally worth it to me. Let's see what else I got here. I got a Cackling Counterpart. This is a good old Innistrad classic card here. 3 mana, 1 blue, instant. Instant makes it even more fun. Because instants are just better, right? They're just better, Steve. And just puts a token copy of a creature you control. And then it has flashback for 5 blue. There's another one here. This is a new one I had never played before. Endless Evil.
That's the one I was thinking of.
It's a 3 mana aura. Beginning of your upkeep, create a token of enchanted creature. Except it's a 1/1, but we don't care because it's going to die anyway.
Yep.
It's such a good rate. And if somehow you were able to turn your commander, the ogre, demon, dragon, into a horror, you would actually get the enchantment back. So for those of you brewing at home, also, if you find a way to turn it into a horror, you get this back. This might be good in your horrors deck. Was that Pioneer?
The Pioneer deck?
Pioneer Horrors.
I have Pioneer Horrors. This Thing in the Ice is good, and I didn't want to play the rest of the cards.
It's another good one here. Mirage Mockery. 3 mana sorcery. Just lets you copy a creature, basically, that you control. Or an artifact creature you control, but it's just going to be the commander.
The one that I found that I was trying to remember is the new one called Extravagant Replication. But that's a 6 mana, beginning of your upkeep, make a token copy. 6 mana is way too much.
Yeah, plus you can't cast it for free off the top. Quasi Duplicate. I like these a lot too because this one has you can pitch a card to it and play it out of the graveyard.
Yo.
Which is sweet. Jumpstart it, as it were. And then they made Jumpstart a thing. Should we talk about this clone? The best clone?
The best. One of the best effects at instant speed in this deck.
All right, we'll get to it. This is Rite of Replication, by the way. Steve and I think this might be one of the most degenerate cards in this whole deck.
So you can pull that off.
So Rite of Replication is a 4 mana sorcery that clones something. But you can kick it for 5 colorless, and you'll put 5 copies of that creature on the battlefield instead.
Now, I believe you can cast it for the unkicked cost with Hidetsugu and then pay the kicker, can't you? I think you can still pay it from exile. Because it says you may pay an additional as you cast it. So that casts it, so you can pay the kicker cost.
I'm confident you should be able to based on the wording. I'm not sure if Wizards rules will allow us. But, yeah, that'd be sweet. Cast off the top for free, pay 5, murder someone.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with you, by the way. Hidetsugu murders people. It's just going to be oodles of damage and so many free triggers. I have this another new one here, See Double. This is a spell that cannot be copied. I've never seen a spell that says that before. I think that's funny. Especially because you're seeing double. Wouldn't you want to see quadruple?
Because it would go infinite with itself, right? Isn't that the problem?
Yeah, I suppose. Just choose one, and if an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, you can choose both. You can copy target spell and choose new targets for the copy. Another good utility spell, very useful.
Right, otherwise you just copy itself.
Or you create a token that's a copy of target creature. And it's an instant, so you can do it at instant speed to brainstorm, draw some cards, and then get your Hidetsugu cast. of a sorcery on somebody else's turn. A very powerful. Maybe they flooded the board out and you decided to Plague Wind them. By the way, do you think Plague Wind and the Garrick one belong in here?
I mean, for a fun standpoint, they're not the most fun thing to do to people. But they're certainly going to end the game, because if you get to do that, you're also just like doming someone for a lot.
Yeah.
So that it feels more.
Like the game ends when you do
more.
it.
Yeah. It feels more towards ending the game than anything else.
Yeah, I wouldn't say too many of them. Probably just the one
Just
with Garrick
in
on
Garrick's Wake and Plague Wind.
and Plague Wind, or some variation of those. Just a couple of them maybe. You also want to be able to protect yourself. This deck doesn't protect itself well. It just shoots people. This is another aura that beginning of your upkeep, you put a token copy of enchanted creature. I actually think this is more of a considering card for us, just because it costs 5 mana for an aura, which means the removal spell super hard blows you out. But if you like this card and you want to play it in the deck, you really want to lean into the clone strategy, this is a great one.
So did you have Mirror Hall Mimic in there?
I don't.
I like this one a lot too.
Oh, I don't know this one.
So this is a clone on one side that dies when we clone, right? It's a 4-mana clone, and then you disturb it as an enchantment that makes a thing every upkeep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that one. So it's a creature start, right? Yeah. Your Hall Mimic, 4 mana, enters a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's a spirit. And then it flips into Ghastly Mimicry. Enchant creature begin your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature except it's a spirit. And if Ghastly Mimicry... Yeah, that's awesome. That fits the deck perfectly.
So we get it twice, right? It's 2 cards in one.
Yeah, well, actually, if they don't remove this, it's just going to continue to put the hurt on.
Right.
Also, as much as I love Magical Christmas Land, I don't recommend dumping a bunch of your auras at a time onto your commander, because
Sure.
people are already going to have a big bullseye on it, because no one likes direct damage and free spells being cast. It's the way it works in Magic. Do you want to introduce this card that I'm about to put in here?
So I think one of the other fun ways that we've been finding in the new era of copying things is to saw it in half. And that's pretty crazy with this card, because we can do a lot of crazy things. So saw in half works that it's going to create a creature, saw it into 2 versions of itself, automatically create one that dies. That's great, right? But we're destroying target creature, so we get 2 more triggers, right? We get the destroy trigger, that one's going to go on the stack. You make 2 copies, one of those is going to die, that's going to go on the stack. So you're at least getting 2 Hidetsugu triggers off of this one card. Then there's the Magical Christmas Land of, if you get one of the like Malika Rebirth effects on it as well, when you do this, it's going to come back.
And there's a lot of these Malika Rebirth type cards here. Go ahead and talk about why this is nuts if you get to cast one of these.
Well, because you can respond to the legendary rule trigger, can't you?
No, you cannot.
You can't?
You can respond to the death triggers or any triggers that use the stack, but state-based effects you can't respond to.
Because if you could...
If you could, that'd be absolutely bananas, but...
Well, you can hold priority on... Well, that's what you do, right? So
Yeah.
you cast your clone, and and then respond to the clone by hitting your real commander with it, right?
Well, you saw it in half.
Well, no. Just any clone effect. So say we have one of these in our hand. We cast it targeting our commander.
Yes.
We then play a clone. We let the clone live. You kill the commander. The commander leaves. It triggers. Then it comes back. Then you let the clone die. And you leave the real commander in place. Now you get double triggers.
I think you and I are on the same page. I just think that you're doing something different than I would. Oh, you're saying you want to target the clone with the death happening. Originally is why you asked if you could respond to
Right.
the legendary trigger. All right,
Right.
I see. So technically, yeah, that would work. The way you're describing it. What's John saying over here?
Cheating on mana is his favorite thing to do in Magic.
I mean, cheating on mana is what makes Magic awesome. Got Undying Malice here, too. Yeah, I think that there's just a lot of shenanigans you'd be able to run with this deck that seem like you wouldn't be able to. So.
Right, because you can't, like, if it's an instant or sorcery, you can respond with it on the stack. But you can't respond once you've created the cloned copy.
Correct.
Right. So yeah, there's a ton of these in
I
black.
wonder
They're
because
awesome.
it has an ETB trigger.
Depends.
I wonder if because it has an ETB, you might have a space to respond before state-based happens.
No, because they enter as. If it said, when it enters the battlefield, blah, 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 it enters as. So, enters as, you don't have a chance to, there's no trigger there. That's why you have to respond to these when you cast
I'm
them.
aware of that. What I'm saying is that because I wonder how the timing works for the state-based action when you have an ETB trigger that happens. The state-based just, I mean, obviously doesn't use the stack.
Well, I'm just saying because they're not ETB triggers.
What I'm saying is when you copy Hidetsugu, you get an ETB trigger off of your copy. So I'm wondering if, like, because you have to decide which one to sacrifice, that's a decision point in the game.
Are you allowed to
Is there a
respond
space
to
to respond to it?
that? I don't know. That's a good rules question.
Yeah.
Where's Seth when you need him?
Yeah, where's Colin when you need him? Either way, still like really interesting concept for this deck. Let's see, how many more of these did I have?
Of the instant speed, bring it back ones?
Oh yeah, so just while Steve and I were talking here, I added Feign Death, Undying Malice, Undying Evil, Supernatural Stamina. They're all 1 mana, one black instance that basically get back a creature that's going to die.
Do you want that one?
Die.
That's another 1 mana one. Ashnod's Intervention.
Let me check it out here. Ashnod's.
Nope, that's one springs to your hand. Get that one.
Oh, definitely not. That's probably why I didn't have my list.
That's another 2 mana one.
Yeah, I mean, we have 6 of these now with this 2 mana one here. The Fake Your Own Death.
Demonic Gifts is another one.
Yeah, the only reason that I put Fake Your Own Death in here as a 2 mana one is because it does give you a treasure after it resolves, which means that, or after the creature comes back. So what happens is this basically only costs you 1 mana, similar to the other ones. I don't really do the 2 mana ones, just because they didn't seem all that worth it if you could play so many 1 mana ones.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so basically we're looking at like 4 1 mana ones, a 1 mana one that's also a 5th 1 mana one that's a land on the backside if you need it to be. Then this one technically costs 2 but gives you treasure, so it's basically 1 mana. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Got a couple removal spells here, 1 mana. This is a very low-costed deck to cast currently, I believe. And then the other way that we were talking about kind of abusing the commander's mechanic a little is to blink them.
Yeah.
Because a blink spell is basically a protection spell for the commander. It's also a brainstorm. So, you know, what's better than a brainstorm? Like 5 or 6 brainstorms in a game. You know? 8, 10 brainstorms. Especially if it's super casual, so
we got the blue ones that are 1 mana.
there's only 1 blue mana one that I found.
Essence Flux.
Essence Flux. This is just my Rakdos scam. Yeah, John, actually, when I was talking to Steve about it, I said, we're going to play all the scam cards in it. Because it makes sense to do with this particular commander. Basically, I never want to have to cast this commander again. I want to cast it once and win the game.
Yeah.
You know? That's like, there's ways to build this where you can put in like a bunch of sack outlets and then tons of these Fake Your Own Death, Feign Death type cards. And you can sack the commander and hope beyond all hope that nobody exiles it from your graveyard.
Yeah.
Or has any graveyard hate out. Or just stops ETB triggers. That's where we get crushed, is getting stopped on our ETB triggers. Or death triggers. So being able to blink it, you know, get some value out of it, being able to clone it for value or clone some of your opponent's stuff for value, totally reasonable.
Speaking of which, what about the new black creature, legendary creature that doubles death triggers?
Oh, Drivnod?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I was going to build this as a command. It was one I was actually going to suggest for tonight.
Yeah.
But ended up being really good. Let's get this sketchy artwork out of here. But it is a 5 mana 8/3, which I love. It says if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control triggered again. So that is fantastic. And then it also has 2 black Phyrexians for mana. Exile 3 creature cards from your graveyard and you can put an indestructible counter on it, which is really good because some of these clones that we have are creatures that will end up in the bin. We probably will never have 3 creatures in there too. At least not with our current build or thought ideas that we're going to have 3 creatures in there to exile this thing. But hey, if you get 3 in there, go nuts. I'm sure there'll probably be a couple of creatures that are reasonable to play in here.
Sure.
So the only 2 cards I have left on my list, I wasn't sure if we wanted to put them in because I think they're kind of Did I put that Ghostly Flicker in?
No.
Okay, so 3 cards left on my list.
Ghostly Flicker's good.
So Ghostly Flicker is just nice because it... What's going on here?
You scrolled away.
Yeah, it jumped up for some reason. Ghostly Flicker, the nice thing about this is you can use it as a protection spell, you can use it as a draw spell with Hidetsugu out, but also you just get like re-entering your battle, like, oh, I want to draw better cards, or oh, these cards aren't good, or I want to hide these cards because something's going to happen to my hand. These blink spells are great for that. The nice thing is it lets you target a land too, where the other one I was going to do, Displace, only require, you have to target 2 creatures, which we're rarely going to have with this deck. So
Sure.
3 mana instant Ghostly Flicker, you can exile 2 artifacts, creatures, and or lands you control, and return them to the battlefield. So it's really neat.
Do we want further ways to interact with the top of our library? Do you care about playing like top or scroll rack in this deck, or do we really not need that?
It's up to you. Personally, I don't think we need it because
Okay.
the whole plan is to keep the commander out there and just keep doing that thing over and over.
Siren's Ruse. That's the other one.
Yeah, I have a bunch of 2 mana blink spells on here. I wasn't sure if we think we should put them all.
What's the other one? Planar Incision is another one.
Planar Incision, Siren's Ruse, Teferi's Time Twist. There's a bunch of them. There's just like, how many do you want to play, you know? Because these have less value than the clones do because they don't kill the commander. You know, I'll throw them on the list and we can always just cut some if we need to.
Yeah, it depends on where we find ourselves in terms of stuff we want to add.
Yeah.
And creatures really, because right, if we don't have enough targets, it's not going to feel as good.
Yeah, I mean, it's specifically there just to protect the commander. What's going on here? Every time I go to click on it, it disappears. It's being mean. Planar Incision. I'll put the Siren's Ruse in. Teferi's Time Twist actually brings it back on the end step.
Okay.
So it's not an immediate one. It's the next end step, and it comes back with a counter, which does make the Undying Evil a little worse in the deck, but it is what it is. So, with all the blink spells and all those return spells, I only have 1 spell left in this, and this is that one that I showed you. I wasn't sure. I want to put it in the considering, if anything, just because I think it's really funny. Because I bet their decks won't be as good as ours for this.
That's pretty funny.
So this is Tempt with Reflections.
What is the tempt I've never seen cast?
This is the blue Tempt. Most people don't play this card. At least I haven't seen too many people play it.
I've never seen it.
It's a 3 and a blue sorcery. Tempting offer. Choose target creature you control, our commander. Put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of that creature. Sweet. We already got our value of our 1 free clone there. Then it says each opponent may put a token on the battlefield that's also a copy of that creature. And for each opponent who does, you put a token on the battlefield. It's a copy of that creature.
I'm fine with it at its floor as being a 4 mana sorcery that we can get off of our commander to trigger our commander again.
Yeah. The thing is that because the reason that this works with our deck is because if anybody does want to try to like get a free brainstorm by just like tempting us, we actually get to trigger it because we own the commander. We get to trigger the death trigger, which is the best part. So I totally think this is sweet. And then we have 23 spots left currently where I think some real big haymaker spells can really land here. So I would say pull out your high CMCs and tell me what you like.
So you said, I think, so do I want to mention my super janky potential loop that's also possible with this deck?
Do you want to put it in the deck? Be honest.
I don't know, but we're going to talk about it.
Let's talk about it. We'll put the cards on the list at least.
So I don't. Rich and I were looking at this, and we were not thinking of a turns deck.
Sorry, John. No, we're not doing extra turns.
Because, as a general rule, they're not very fun to play against. Because you just do all the things and no one else does, and you can whiff, and it just doesn't feel as good. So we were sticking away from all your temple trespasses, your all of your time stretches, which are very powerful and would work, just not the way we like to play. Totally doable. But I did find a loop that will allow you to kill everyone. So basically the idea is if you get your commander, if you get a way to kill it for free. So you want like a non-creature sack outlet, and a way to and any of the creatures that buy back the spell, either to your hand or to the top of your library, and a spell that reanimates at least 2 creatures. This is a lot to ask for, but you can stack it so that you sack the creatures, the spell then reanimates the creatures, the reanimated creatures then put the spell back on top, and you hit it with Hidetsugu, and you can respond to casting it by sacking them again, and then you just loop over and over and over again the same reanimation spell, this 2 creatures. It's possible. It's janky, but there's a couple of like really monstrous reanimate spells that I think you might want to play anyway, which are kind of cool. So like Rise of the Dark Realms is just one of those cards I want to play anyway. Yeah, Perry agrees. He doesn't like turns to Exilers.
Here's the thing, like, in Commander, it's in my experience that once somebody gets an extra turn, you can usually survive that. Once somebody gets 2 extra turns, the game's likely over. But the problem is, a lot of these turns decks just keep taking more turns. They're not actually winning the game quickly. Edric is a perfect example of just death by 1,000 paper cuts. Shout out to Steve Sinicola for that one. But, you know, I don't like losing that way, and I don't even like winning that way. I don't find it to be fun to take lots of turns. If you do, play it that way. The problem is that I also don't want this to become the ninja deck, because that's what the ninja deck does, right?
Right.
So I want to kind of do something a little different. We got some big, like, swingy bomb spells like Rise of the Dark Realms, stuff like that.
So Rise of the Dark Realms is one of the ones that works, okay? So we had, the other one that I had was Living Death.
Does this work?
You respond to casting it, just the way you do any other time.
Yeah,
right? You just respond to casting it by sacking your stuff.
Has anybody cast this spell more than me?
No.
Oh, I got this guy.
So you just cast it, hold priority, and sack your stuff.
Yeah. Gotta switch this to the rich printing here. Good
so you could do it that way.
Old school border on it. Let's get way down here.
This may not make the final cut. Where are you going?
I'm going to find the original printing of it. There it is. If Troy is watching this video, by the way, buddy, I know you know the power of this card. Living Death, for those of you who don't know, 5-mana sorcery. The text on it is really awkward, but basically what happens is take all the creatures in the graveyards, just kind of exile them. Everybody sacks all the creatures on the table, and then all the creatures that were exiled to from the graveyards go back to the battlefield. And if you know how to play this card right, it's crazy. And also Sir Conrad, if you played in any deck with Living Death, Sir Conrad sees the creatures leave the graveyard from exiling from the first half, and then sees all the creatures get sacrificed as well. So Sir Conrad, hilarious with Living Death. Wow, John's got a lot of ideas here.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I got your Living Death, your Rise of the Dark Realms. What was the creatures that you wanted to stick in here that do that?
So it's your Yorion creatures.
Oh, Archaeomancer and stuff like that?
Archaeomancer and the Seeker one, the Merfolk one.
Merfolk Secret Keeper, yeah. Archaeomancer. Another card that I'm confident I've cast more than many Magic players. Maybe not cast. Certainly blinked it more than anybody else.
Right. These also work with our blink spells.
Yep.
To buy back something that we used that we wanted to use again.
Yeah. So you need another clone spell and you draw one of these Archaeomancers, blink the Archaeomancer, do it again.
Yep.
Kind of a...
Just kind of a catch-all.
Do you prefer the easier to cast one at the wall? Mnemonic wall is 4 in a blue, where the Secret Keeper is 3 blue. Do you have a preference?
I don't.
Like,
we
do we care
don't
about the
have
creature?
a lot of creatures, so we
Do we
might
even
want to
care
have a
about the
couple
creature?
so we don't die to attacks.
Well, the wall is a better blocker, in my opinion. So.
All right.
Yeah, this is loss of life. Maybe we should put some cards in here that say when your opponent loses life, you gain that much life.
Wouldn't be terrible.
Because that would be awesome. Can we talk about like degenerate Drivnatus in this deck?
Yes.
Get that trigger twice. Brainstorm. I'm gonna put this 10 and this 11 on top. GG. Wow, John, you got a lot of boom. John likes the big spells. So I don't know if
Get the wall. Do you want one more?
I'm okay with one more.
We like the into your hand better than the ones that put on top.
Do you want one? Right? Do you want one that gets back instants and sorceries? So you can get back anything.
That's yes.
Okay, then we'll do Merfolk Secret Keeper. No, it's not Merfolk Secret Keeper, is it?
No, Shipwreck Drouser. That one, right?
Which one's Merfolk Secret Keeper? Is that the Little Mermaid
one?
Is it the Little Mermaid? Yeah, it is.
No, you want the.
There's one for like 4 and a blue. I think it might only get back an instant though. Let me check though because I think that the easier cast.
The Shipwreck one, Shipwreck Drouser.
That one has prowess, but it's 3 blue, I believe. Let me pull up the old school Yorion list here. Not that I have a couple of those in there. Like 5 of them. Let's see here. Chaomancer, Demonic Wall, Salvager Secret, Scrivener is the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, Salvager is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Scrivener only gets back instants. It's a 4 and a blue. There are no sorceries in my Yorion. No real sorceries to speak of in my Yorion deck.
So we want the other one, the Salvager
Secrets, yeah.
That's the one with like a merfolk in a window or something, right?
Yes. Looks like this. It's beautiful artwork. Come down. Yeah, look at that. Wow. Wolfolk Wizard. This isn't the one with prowess. Let's put the prowess one in here instead. Shipwreck Douser.
That's the one I'm thinking.
That one's bigger than this one. It costs the same exact amount of mana and does the same thing. Boop. I should put that on the considering board. Sorry about that, folks. Shipwreck Douser. It's even cheaper because 1 penny less.
Oh.
So this is a 5 mana, 3/3 Merfolk Wizard with prowess. When it enters the battlefield, return instant sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. The fact that it's bigger means it's a better blocker. Stops 2/2s on the ground, no problem. Also gets prowess, which means when you cast like a blink spell on your commander or this thing, well, not this thing, but on your commander, this will be a 4/4.
So basically, reanimation spell. Let that one hit first, or let that one hit. Your commander hit first. Then that one's ETB, stack it. So that ETB happens first, you put the instant or sorcery back in your hand, and then you let Hidetsugu's trigger resolve so that you brainstorm and put it where you want it on top of the library.
Not complicated or convoluted at all. I would have laughed the first time you play this deck and you make that happen to somebody. All right, so what is this?
So we want a couple of free non-creature sack outlets, right?
Yeah, when Steve says free, he means doesn't cost to sack the creature, but
right.
Not the spell itself. So the cheapest ones are going to be your 2 mana artifacts. You're going to have the one that mills and the one that puts charge counters on to make
spawning pit. Just as they're also just like good free insurance if someone goes to like interact and we can sacrifice something in response.
I also love the new artwork.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one yet. That's kind of cool.
Love the color, man. It's so cool.
Very cool. The other one's not as nice.
So 2 mana artifact, sack a creature for free, put a charge counter on it, pay 1 and remove 2 charge counters from it to make a 2/2 colorless. Just fine. I personally think colorless creatures are overlooked a lot in Commander. Like they stop fear, they stop intimidate, they stop protection, because it's really hard to have protection from colorless. So like you can just like block something and stay alive longer. I think it's totally reasonable to have that. Also, if you draw a bunch of these like Feign Death, Fake Your Own Death, Undying Evil, just like sack your dude for free. Whenever you draw a card, you draw a Brainstorm off of it and you get a free cast. So makes it easy. The other one is the mill one. You can mill them, you can mill yourself.
You want Altar of Dementia?
I mean, yeah, why not? I like altars.
That's what you're talking about.
I don't think there's a 1 mana one that
No.
is not. I don't think there's a 1 mana one that's repeatable.
Right.
Because there's the Witch's Oven that you can tap to do it.
Yeah, we don't want that.
But I don't think that's what you want. Alter Dimension, 2 mana artifact, sack a creature, target player mills cards equal to that creature's power.
I don't think this is like a really strong strategy in the deck, so I don't want to like overwhelm us with a bunch of those.
Yep.
But I think having a couple of them doesn't hurt.
And why does it have to be a non-creature one? Oh, because the living death. Now I get it. Now I get it. All right, John's been suggesting 100 different big ones. You think we should check out some of these cards he wants?
Yes.
All right.
Hercule's Final Meditation. I don't know this one. Do you?
I don't know. It's probably something artifact related. It's got the word Hercule in it. It's probably blue. It's probably a sorcery, knowing John. Oh, no, an instant. Wow, I'm proud of you, buddy. Nah.
Return all not. I mean, 7's a lot to hit somebody with, but at the same time.
Yeah, so this is a good card. No disrespect to our buddy John. It's a really cool card. The fact that our permanents, like our sack outlets that we just put in, and all of our artifact ramp, and even just recasting our commander would be like a hindrance to us. It kind of defeats the whole, reduction of mana costs and everything. So, I think it's a fun card, and if you want to play it, by all means, jam that thing in there. But I don't think it's right for what Steve and I want to do. I also don't.
What is blood money?
I don't know, but I don't think this End of the Infinite belongs in here at all. What are we gonna do if we draw this deck?
I don't know.
We're playing. I'm gonna move it to considering for now, just so we have an idea of what the final product might look like. But let's check out these boom booms that John is he's going off the chains over here. Come on, let me make this go away. Move to considering. I'm not gonna lie to you. This Saw and Half card is just growing on me so hard. I want to pick up a couple copies of it and just start putting can you imagine this in Shirai? How many cards you guys discarding? All of them.
What is blood money?
Blood money. Sounds like a 40k card. I just assume any card I don't know is probably a 40k card just because there's so many cards in it that are new. Nope. Destroy all creatures. For each non-token creature destroyed this way, you create a tap treasure token. It's fine. I don't think it's great.
I don't think we want to wrath our commander.
Like I said, the whole point is to keep the commander out there with our particular strategy.
All right.
Wrathing my opponent's creatures.
Yeah, sure.
Chef's kiss on that bad boy. But wrathing our own creature, one creature is probably not what we want to do. Especially if we're going to put auras on it that let us copy it.
Blatant Thievery.
Blatant Thievery is a good one if I remember correctly. That's take something from each opponent, or
isn't that like
take 3 things from somebody?
Triple bribery? Is it triple bribery?
Something like that. And it's cheap. 361.
I think you missed.
Did I? I did? I do? There it is. 7 mana for each opponent. Gain control of target permanent that player controls.
That seems reasonable.
That seems pretty darn good. Hey,
Speaking of which, let's just put bribery in here.
Bribery is fine. Yeah. Can't believe it only does 1 opponent, and it costs 3 times as much. I think it's only 5 mana, too. You're not even hitting them as hard. I'm not a big fan of this particular one, but the artwork's nice. It's just I don't like the full card frames myself.
Is there an every opponent bribery? I feel like there might be.
Right there, Blatant Thievery.
No. That takes something. That's in play.
Oh, you mean from everybody's deck?
Yeah.
Maybe. You can go looking.
There might be.
Let's keep rolling with these ones that John had suggested, though, just so he can...
yeah, Decree of Pain?
Decree of Pain is nuts. Yeah, I think that card could easily be in here. I just don't want to destroy my creatures.
Doesn't Decree of Pain kill everything?
I think Decree of Pain kills everything. But it draws a bunch of cards, too. We'll put it in considering, though. Again, it works in the same way. Personally, I think in Garrick's Wake and Plague Wind are probably the 2 that I want to play for Wraths.
Sure.
And you have your Living Death, There's a bunch of delve spells that are kill spells and stuff, too. What was the one I just put in? Decree of Pain.
Yeah.
It's a sorcery. By put it in, I mean I didn't put it in. I'm fumbling up the Moxfield tonight. Love this deck name. Legendary Smegendary. Oh, man. Is this just not going? Oh, there it is. Decree of Pain. It's 8 mana. Destroy all creatures that can't be regenerated. Draw a card for each creature destroyed. This way you can cycle it for 3 black, and then all creatures get -2/-2 until the turn. That might make it playable for us. Just that we're going to cycle it, but you can't do the cycling off of the top of the deck, so it kind of defeats the purpose. And again, we don't want to kill our own commander if we can help it, unless we're planning to. Yeah. What was Decree of Pain? Overwhelming Forces. I don't know this one. Do you know this one? $40. That's probably not going in. If I'm not playing a polluted Delta, I'm not playing $40 overwhelming forces. But let's take a look at it because it's fun. And if you own one, sweet, put it in. Destroy all creatures target opponent controls. Oh, this is the one I was telling you about. It's a P3K card. Draw a card for each creature destroyed this way.
That is powerful.
It's powerful. It doesn't.
I
don't want
only
to.
problem
I don't like
about
targeting
that.
one player.
I mean, our commander already does that with our life
Yeah.
to loss is for one player. I wish it was everybody. That would be busted.
Yeah.
But I think I want to. If I'm going to kill creatures, I want to kill everybody else's creatures.
Yeah, I think protecting ourselves is going to be the hardest part. So killing their things is going to be important. Thank you for the suggestions, though, John. They're good cards. I don't think that we want Hidetsugu to die from our hand.
Well, let's put Plague Wind and
Oh, yeah.
and Garrick's Wake in there.
These are 9-mana sorceries that destroy all your opponent's stuff. Is this a Rift deck? Probably not. Rift isn't very casual.
No, it's also not
Fun.
not. We don't want to pay the overload cost.
That's right. That's right. We want it free.
We want that, and we want the CMC to be high.
Yeah.
Because we want it to kill everybody.
It's effectively backwards. So we have Ingarrick's Wake, destroy all creatures you don't control, all planeswalkers you don't control, Plague Wind, destroy all creatures you don't control, and they can't be regened. Oh man, this looks like a lot of fun though. This looks like something my kind of build, doesn't it? Something I would put together.
Definitely.
All these value plays and janky game mechanics. Nice, nice, nice.
All right, we're going for the Skyfall. Sky. Wow.
You got this.
Skyfall search for instants or sorceries in our color combinations. Show me everything starting with the highest CMC. Sort of direction, descending. Search. Oh.
Cost 7+. Start at the top, work our way down.
Why did it show me
Let's give you creatures too.
instant or sorcery?
What do you feel about a 14-minute instant that untaps all artifacts?
That sounds terrible.
It's pretty awful.
I don't know, I did something wrong here.
Once I get through all these extra turn spells, we'll have a bunch of good stuff to look at. Skull Storm. Talk about this one. This is a 9-mana sorcery. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. Each opponent sacks a creature. Each opponent who can't loses half their life rounded up. It's a nice little removal spell that we can cast for free.
Here we go. Blink Moth Infusion.
I love the artwork on this. Isn't that cool? This purple, like, essence behind the skulls.
We didn't want to do... We thought about the Internal Domination one, but that's an epic spell,
Yeah,
so we didn't want to do that.
Not big in the epic spells. Oh, you like this one, Mnemonic Deluge? Isn't that the one you said you really liked?
So the only reason I cast it in a turn where I used that with Mind's Desire.
That's pretty hilarious. The
Where
way it looks.
Shout
to
out
me,
to Alex for that one. That was what, Emoti? I think I was playing his Emoti deck.
It's pretty funny.
And I cast Mind's Desire, and then I cast this with the storm count at like 6.
It's pretty good. For me, the way I look at it is we're going to cast it for free off the commander. We're going to 9 somebody, and then we're going to make 3 clones of the commander and do it all again. This gets exiled, but...
Sure.
Also, and here's the other thing, too. Steve and I want to put these free, these free big giant spells. A lot of these are castable if you get enough mana, especially in a casual game.
Right, we thought about maybe including some of the other ways to cheat on casting stuff for free that also work in this deck.
Yeah, so I like Treasure Cruise a lot. Sometimes you just want to draw a little bit deeper in your deck, and you've used some resources during the game, and paying 1 mana to draw 3 is pretty awesome. And if you have the Teferi's blah 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 out there, Ageless Insight, then you can draw 4, right?
No.
So that's pretty sweet. And then with that, I also like Dig Through Time to find the exact right cards. This is an instant for 8 mana, and then you can delve 6 for it, 6 of it, I believe, and you play blue. You search the top 7 of your library. You look at the top 7, put 2 in your hand.
Yeah, Dig's an instant.
Yeah, it's a sweet instant.
We definitely wanted to play Amanatu's Augury, right?
Oh yeah. Amanat. I don't know if it's
right here.
Amin. Oh, Mayan is what I did. That's why.
There it is.
Yep. This is an 8 mana. You want to read what this bad boy does?
This is an 8 mana sorcery. Exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may play a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Until end of turn, for each non-land card type, you may cast a card of that type from among the exiled cards without playing its mana cost. Ooh. So, yeah, that's a lot.
That's a instant sorcery, land, creature, artifact, enchantment.
Yep.
If you hit the right cards. So that's pretty darn good in my opinion. I don't think we should play this because of extra turns, but it is a sweet card.
Yep.
This is kind of an end-the-game card. I'm going to put it in the considering board. It's not a card that I would want to play, I don't think.
Expropriate.
So Expropriate to me, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is a turns card. To me, this is a game ender. Not because of turns, but because if your opponents choose to give you turns, the game will end. And if they choose to give you all their best permanents, the game will end. So it's an end-the-game card. It's one of the reasons I don't really like it very much because it doesn't require you to do anything besides cast it. You don't have to jump through hoops. You have, not really effectively speaking. But just for the sake of argument, 9 mana sorcery, starting with you. Each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, you take an extra turn after this one. For each money vote, you choose a permanent owned by the voter and gain control of it. And then you exile Expropriate. So basically, we're going to be casting this for free, taking at least one free turn because the person who casts this almost always takes a free turn. I've never seen anybody ever take a permanent with their choice when they cast it. So you're already getting a free turn, and then you're either getting the 3 best permanents your opponents control, or you're taking several turns and getting permanent. It literally ends the game. It's just a powerful card. Again, I think it's worth considering. If you like this card, you own one, and you want to jam it in, go crazy. For me and Steve, we don't find these to be as fun, especially in a casual deck that it's just the big swingy dumb spells and stuff like that. Kind of like our Magar deck. Magar? I still can't think of it.
Did you find this one? Did you find Arcane Endeavor?
Arcane Endeavor. Doesn't even sound familiar. Spelled Endeavor wrong.
O-R.
Yep. I knew. I just had to wait. There we go. 40 cents. I love this card. I don't even care what it does. Is it sorcery?
It's a 7 mana sorcery.
Roll 2d8. It's already good. And choose one result. Draw cards equal to that result. Then you may cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to the other result from your hand without paying its mana cost. Yeah, this card's great. Slam it in there. Now I gotta carry 2 d8s when I play the deck. That's a cool choice.
When you ask the internet to do it for you, right? You can always roll whatever dice you want on your phone at any time.
Did we put Clone Legion in here? Yeah, we did. Okay. Did you? No. That one. By the way, shout out to John for that amazing Worst Fears turn that he took. Oh, sorry, that was taken of his. Steve annihilated John.
I built the Magar deck in paper. And John was playing Light Paws and had like lethal on me really badly.
Yeah, it was.
And I was definitely gonna take it too. I had no way out. Light Paws had like 20 million power and protection from everything.
And Steve, he straight up cast Worst Fear. He just paid the mana and cast it to take John's turn and annihilate him.
Yep.
It was
brutal.
It was awesome.
It was brutal.
It was the best game ever. I think I snuck out that one too.
Did we want to play the Breach the Multiverse one?
Oh, yeah. This is one of the ones I was looking for. I like this card. I think it's really neat. We want to protect ourselves. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Breach with an A?
It's it Breach with an A.
48 cents. Please tell me this is a mythic, too. I bet it is. Of course not. 7 mana sorcery. Each player mills 10. For each player, choose a creature or planeswalker in that player's graveyard. Put those cards in the battlefield under control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian, in addition to others' types. So that's great, because we're probably going to get a clone with it, or a creature that buys back a spell. In which case, we're going to get another trigger off our commander, and then somebody's going to take 7, and we get a bunch of their stuff.
Yep.
So that's a good. These like steal their creature cards are also quite good in protecting our life. Do you like Army of the Damned in this?
I mean, it's about as big as it gets for big spells.
Yeah, I mean, we put it in Magar, but I mean, this has got some big spells in it too.
Yeah.
But also, I like it. It makes 13 tapped 2/2 black zombies, And then once you get to untap with them, you got 13 blockers now because unless you need to pressure somebody. But it also has flashback for 10. It's not nothing. Also, it works really well with these Archaeomancer, Shipwrecked Dowser, and Mnemonic Wall. Is you could just, oh my god, I didn't even think of this, man. I didn't even think of this. You could blink one of these things or reanimate it with any one of the X spells that we have that do that, and then go get one of these big spells back, and then put it right back on top of your deck and cast it again. As long as the spell doesn't exile itself, which is awesome,
right? Like I didn't think the creatures were terrible in the first place. There are ones that put it directly back on top, so those actually kind of work when it comes to the blink effect better because you don't have to blink that and your commander.
Yes. Although blinking the commander is good because you do go up on cards. Well, not blinking it, but
I feel like there's.
It's a lot of extra turn spells now. I'm looking through this.
Yeah. We do get to play. So the way his trigger works is it still domes people. We just get to dome people and cast it for free if it's an instant or sorcery.
Yes.
So big stuff still works, regardless of whether it's an instant or sorcery. So you could technically play spells that were big, but have like a discount for some other reason, right? There's some like random ones in there. That's an idea. I think what's the one that I love that's from Throne of Eldraine. That's a giant that would work in this deck. It's a enchantment that costs like a bajillion mana, but it's discounted for instants and sorceries. Is it the Magic Mirror? Is that the one?
Sounds familiar. That sounds like an Eldraine thing.
Is it this one?
Let's take a look.
There's two of them from that cycle. It might be an artifact. Yep.
Costs 1 less to cast for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. No max hand size. Give your upkeep, put a knowledge counter on it, then draw a card for each knowledge counter on it. It's a cool card. I don't think it plays to our strategy outside of being easy to cast. Because we still have to cast it. We're not getting it for free.
Right.
But it is a sweet card.
There's some other one that's like that.
We had also talked about maybe
There's
putting some stuff
one.
in here for creatures that you... Like some actual permanents in here that generate creatures when you cast spells. Or give you some kind of benefit for casting spells. Like, for example, like Shark Typhoon, the witch that makes pests, Dika makes... Oh my god, Dika would be amazing in this!
Yeah, I think Dika and the Shark are better than like Talrand and Sedgemoor Witch.
There's an enchantment that does it too. Makes
Metallurgical Summoning?
Yeah.
Because these are going to make big things when we get to cast the big things for free.
Yeah! What else we got? What was the third one? Shark Typhoon.
Shark Typhoon.
How much is Shark Typhoon up to these days?
Probably a lot.
$10 ain't
no.
bad.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, so Metallurgic Summons, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create an XX colorless construct artifact token, creature token, where X is that spell's mana value. So you're going to be making some booms off this thing. It also has a secondary ability. You can pay 3 blue and exile it. And then return all instant and sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Then activate it only if you control 6 or more artifacts. Fairly easy to do.
There was another board wipe that we might want to consider. Is Necromantic Selection. Because it kills everything, but you get to bring something back. So you just bring your commander back.
Yeah, that seems fine. I think we talked about this one before, right? I feel like we talked about this when you were driving earlier. While we wait for that one to load, though, I'll talk about Shark Typhoon, 6-mana enchantment. When you cast a non-creature spell, this one is bonkers, by the way. Create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. This card is kind of a win condition on its own with your big things. Like, you're already going to dome them for some big spells, and then also you're going to make giant sharks to hit them with. The last one that we had put in here was Dika. She's a 5-mana legendary creature. It's a 5-mana legendary creature. A human wizard that says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, Create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, and then you put X/1 counters on it, where X is the spell's mana value. It also has just a secondary activated ability of 3 and a blue. Target creature token can't be blocked this turn. So just some additional free value on there. I love spells that have free value.
Do we want to play Seagate Restoration since it's a big sorcery, but it's also an MDFC?
Sure, yeah. I'm totally fine with that. I just took it out of Yorion, my foily one. The reason I decided to foil the deck, I took it out. You know what it is? I never, ever cast it in Yorion. Yeah. I always pay 3 life to play an island, is what I do.
If that's the case, that's not great.
So it doesn't really work for me. I'm just going to yank an island out since we did that. Remove 1. Just keep on our track here. I mean, we're coming up on the end here. We should probably start doing some numbers soon.
There are some brutal ones here.
Yeah, there's some nasty big stuff because they cost a lot of mana.
Amnesia.
So the one with the hole in the head?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross.
Is there another reanimate spell that we want to consider?
There's a lot of them. I mean, if you want, we don't have to do all the 7 and 8, 10 mana spells, but
what I'm saying is there one that gets us 2 creatures or more?
I don't know. By the way, Kindred Dominance is another Plague Wind for 7 mana. Because you just choose one of the odd creature types that this has of ogre, or demon or dragon.
Ogres.
And so Kindred Dominance is to choose a creature. Oh, it's $35. I'm not putting that in there. That's not fun for casual. Into the story.
Because right now we're at $233, which
it's a pretty good price. Yeah, it's about 100 over where I usually spend on my casual decks, but I'm exaggerating. They've been growing a lot lately. Ooh, this one says roll 2d10.
I did look at that one.
Choose one result. Return a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to that result. Then each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the other result. It's not terrible. It's called Grave Endeavor.
This one's kind of fun. Here's a fun one that doesn't feel not so much of a feel bad. Elminster's Simulacrum.
Can't say I know this one. They're putting out so many cards now, Steve, that I'm sets and sets behind. I'm like still learning Kamigawa stuff.
Yeah, right?
Let's see.
This is an instant.
6 mana instant. For each opponent, you create a token that's a copy of up to 1 target creature that player controls. Pretty sweet. Yeah, I love that.
That's like
cast it for free. Make 3 defenders for yourself. Seems great. Could even be threats too.
Is this a deck where you're going to care enough about the fact that we have no creatures in play that you want to play like Propaganda or No Mercy or something like that to deter people from hitting us? Nah, we're just going for it.
I don't think that's the plan. I think we want to just kill their things, and also like our commander is going to be able to just generate so much advantage. But, you know, I think that's why we added things like Dika, and we still have, like, Driven. Like, we have creatures, some, and we'll be able to generate tokens and you know, a lot of free value of killing their things. And, you know, some of our clone spells we can target their stuff with, too.
Oh, here's one. Here's one of the, on reanimate spells. Ever After. This one works. There we go. Sorcery. Ever After.
There it is. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of those creatures is a black zombie and other colors and types. Put Ever After on the bottom of its owner's library.
Oh, no, that doesn't work.
So that won't work for your combo.
No. I stopped reading. I stopped reading before the last sentence.
Darn it. Darn those last sentences. There's a lot of giant black burn spells, which I think are funny.
The, like, people lose 10 life ones, yeah.
Let's see here. I don't know, man. I think we have a lot of like the
Yeah.
biggest ones, you know. Yeah, Blatant Thievery. 7-mana counterspell. There's some wacky Magic cards, man.
Yeah, there are. We got a pretty wild selection going here.
This is pretty radical, yeah. Let's see here. 100 Absorb Vizzes. Yeah, I went through all the 7 or more. I didn't do 6 or less.
Any other generic interaction that you want here? Any counter spells? Any further removal? We got 2 pieces of removal. Those are only like direct, and they're only for creatures.
Yeah, I mean, I like a good...
Do you want something like a generic, like a Drowning Lock or something that just kind of can do anything?
I like Drowning Lock. I think it's totally reasonable to play in here.
Because it's a kill spell, and it's a counter spell, and it cares about our graveyard a little bit. I mean,
cares about their graveyards, but
yeah.
It's a good card. I think it's fine. I like the unrestricted black removal spell. You just lose 2 life.
The Infernal Grasp.
Yeah, like if we needed an actual kill spell. I think that's a fine card if you want to play it. Also fairly inexpensive. Maybe as far as counters, I love the one that costs 1 and makes 2 treasures.
An offer you can't
An offer you
refuse.
can't refuse. And because it's like I like stuff like this a little more in casual. Ooh. I was thinking of the Dan deck. You know they have all those counter spells to put cards back on top. Memory lapse. So like we go to cast the spell because we still have to cast the spell off the top for free without paying its mana cost.
You exile it and then cast it. Yes.
Yes, but it's still cast. It uses the stack, so somebody could potentially counter it.
Yes, you can.
Or we could just counter our own spell, put it back on top of the library, do it again.
Respond to your counter by countering my own spell. So your counter fizzles.
That's true. Put Remand in here for the same reason. I wouldn't do those. But I like Arcane Denial. I think that like as far as like cheap, you want cheap spells because you have so many big things to do in the deck.
Sure.
Your interactive mana is going to be less. But I think having a couple of counter spells and a couple of kill spells, we have some major board control cards in here. We're going to be generating a ridiculous amount of card advantage, velocity, and board control as long as we can. And we're going to be, people are going to try kills quick. It's just the way it's going to be. So we're going to have to really try to get to these like these big Plague Wind type effects. We have a lot now though. Necromantic Selection, Plague Wind, Living Death, and Garrick's Wake, and then we have. Breach Multiverse does something like that. We get to take a lot of their stuff, copy things. I think we'll be alright. I don't know how I feel about the Alter Dimension anymore. The Spawning Pit.
Well, you can't do our loop without them.
It's true.
You have to be able to sack your commander.
Yeah, it's true.
Which I'm fine without the loop.
Yeah, I'm just spitballing ideas. Like, we're over by a little now because we added some interaction. Are there any counter spells, kill spells that you like, or ways to tempo the game better?
No, I think this is fine.
Alrighty.
I think this is fine.
We have 1, 2, 3 dedicated creature removal spells. We have a counter kill spell in Drown in the Lock, kind of. We've got 2 soft counters. An Offer You Can't Refuse, which just does a non-creature spell. And then we have Arcane, which does any spell, but they draw 2 cards, and then you draw a card. Be careful with the Arcane Denial and the way you stack your Brainstorms and stuff like that.
Also worth mentioning, the black instant speed save a creature spells, most of them, if not all of them, do not say your creature. It's target.
Yeah, but the owner's control for all of them.
Yes. So they are excellent political pieces. They're
All right,
also excellent pieces for, hey, somebody has a card out that's stopping XY player over here from winning the game. This Draenith Magistrate that just shuts down their thing, right? Which would be bad for us. But like, some random piece of interaction that's on board or threat that might not be a threat to us, but it's a threat to them, and we can just be like, no, save that. I have done that on many of an occasion, and it feels hysterical.
Sounds pretty good. I don't play a lot of politics, and that makes a lot of sense. The politicking I do is very what you call it? How would you call it? Strong arming? I do a lot of strong arming. It's not nice politics. I'm like if you do that, I only have to focus on killing you now.
But it can also be like, their thing. I can block it. I can stop it. I have interaction for it, and you don't. So I'm gonna just let it be out there, and I'm gonna hold up my interaction, and I'm just gonna say you can't come at me because I'm gonna stop it. But I'll reanimate it. You keep hitting them with it.
It totally sounds reasonable.
It's still strong arming.
Yeah. Just in a politer way.
Any hideaway cards worth playing?
Eh.
Okay.
I can't think of any. There's a blue land, a black land, and that blue creature that's great in Yoria.
Well, I play the new enchantment one that I love.
Oh, well, was that one wiretapping?
Yeah, it's not really good for this deck.
Take a look at it. Just talk about fun card here.
It's a personal howling line for 5 mana, and then if you have at the end of its effect, if you have 9 cards in hand, you get to hit the hideaway.
Gotcha. Yeah, not good for this deck, but definitely a cool card.
You know what deck that's in?
Scry Guys?
No.
Oh, belongs to Scry Guys.
No, it's not in Scry Guys.
But you always have like 90 cards in your hand.
It's in the councils.
Oh yeah, the Council of 4.
Because it says personal howling mine.
That deck looks a lot better now, by the way. Ooh, I like his hand.
So we got to cut 4.
Yeah, I was just coming down to look at our big spell counts. So we have 5 7s, 4 8s, 6 9s, and a 10.
Ooh boy.
So we're rocking. This looks like a fine commander curve here till we hit the 5s. A little heavy on the 5s, but a lot of those are probably gonna be ones we just cast for free or nearly
What's our color spread?
Mostly blue, a little bit of black. It's about twice as much blue than black.
Okay.
So that's easy enough.
So we can adjust our land counts accordingly.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 4 swamp out, 3 swamp out.
You are playing a tainted.
Yeah. Should I cut the tainted?
No.
Well, I'm not gonna. Here's why. Because I have Evolving Wilds, Fabled Passage, Maestro's Theater, Obscura Storefront, and Terramorphic Expanse.
Yeah, you're fetching. Okay.
Yeah. How do you feel about Murderous Cut instead of like Infernal Grasp?
I don't remember the difference.
All right, I have a feeling you'll agree with me, so I'm gonna move this to considering. But how do you feel about a 1 mana kill a creature with no downside? You don't lose life, but it costs 5 CMC on its front end.
The other, was it a delve?
Yeah.
Well, the other one we could play that would work is Baleful Mastery.
Probably do that too, yeah.
Because that one's a higher CMC, but you don't pay for it.
I get that. I mean, this one, because the 4 is so easy to delve if you needed to,
Okay.
like, you can just destroy a creature for 1 black.
Okay.
So it's less mana, effectively.
Sure.
Gives us use for, like, right now the only delves we got right here are Dig Through Time and Murderous Cut.
Yeah, I think I'd want to, play the deck through and see if I really liked the delve cards in it.
Sure.
I think
I'm
that's
just saying
one of
for
those things I'd want to fish a bunch.
Like, when we're like, oh, we're going to have to stack it so the card we flip to kill that creature is going to be a 2 mana spell. No, I'd rather it be a 5 mana spell.
Sure.
Because we have to kill that creature, and that's the way we do it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That kind of thing. What was the other one that you just said? It was delve spell.
Baleful Mastery. It's not a delve spell.
Oh,
It's one where you have alternative casting cost.
gotcha.
So you can cast it
So it's
for
the
2
or 4.
2 or 4,
Gotcha.
and you let somebody else draw a card.
Yeah.
Once again, another political
Yeah,
pivot point
totally
if you're
reasonable.
willing to do it.
Yep. Well, I mean, I think we're at 105. We're pushing towards 10 o'clock here. I'd say let's start making some cuts.
Okay.
Let me balance the lands here. Oh, actually, let's make our cuts first, then I'll balance the lands. Yeah. I really like the creature package a lot.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything I really want to change there. Any of these spells that you dislike or don't think will work? Or maybe just kind of like a hat in a hat doing the same thing? Oh, we have Treasure Cruise too. So we have 3 delve spells right now.
What's the dead drop do again?
I think it kills 2 creatures. Target player sacrifices 2 creatures.
I think I don't like that one as much because they get to pick.
True, but also you could potentially do this for 1 mana, or you could 10 somebody with it.
It is, but I just
It's
think
also our
in
only.
terms of
It's
our,
our
like,
only 10 drop.
It's our in terms of our big stuff. It's
Yeah.
like the least.
It's not very
least
effective.
impactful.
Yeah. If it said like non-token creatures, I think I'd be more into it.
Sure, or sacks the 2 largest CMC creatures,
Yes,
or
yeah.
something like that. You know, but when you cast that and someone's like, "Cool, 2 Thopters," you're like, "Oh, well, that was
Here goes 2 plant tokens. Yay!
that was underwhelming."
The Skullstorm is probably kind of you know, but it's a 9 mana sorcery. When you cast it, copy it for each time you cast your commander from the command zone. We're planning to only do it once, but if we had to do it a couple times, but each opponent sacrifices a creature. Each opponent who can't lose his afterlife rounded up. So this is a hell of a good follow up to like a Plague Wind.
Yep.
Really fast actually, because not only are you going to 9 somebody, but then everybody's going to half their life totals.
I think Living Death is not as good in this deck
Alrighty.
because if we're really like murdering all this other stuff with
We're
our
also
control
not.
pieces,
We're not getting a lot back, which makes the other
right.
half.
We're
of this
not
card
we're not milling ourselves a lot, so it's not that strong.
totally reasonable to cut that.
I just wish we had one more like get 2 reanimate 2 things.
It would cost life, but just command the Dread Horde gets you back any number of things. From any
Yeah,
number
but
of
that
graveyards.
doesn't. If you loop it, you're just gonna kill yourself. There's nothing that gains you life in that equation.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any of these look superfluous, or like this is a any permanent blink spell, which is nice, but it comes back on the end step. This one does artifact or creature, comes back with 1 counter on it. Let's see.
Is there an artifact we want to protect? Maybe we just cut that one as the worst one.
Cut this one as the worst one, or cut this one because it comes back on the end step. This does hit any permanent, which is nice.
I think that's better for surviving like a board wipe.
Since this does artifact or creature, this does any permanent. This only does a creature. And our commander's not a pirate. Is there any of these pirates?
Nope. No pirates.
So I think that one's like an easy cut because it's just such a redundant thing.
The Siren's Ruse?
Yeah.
Okay.
We already have the planar incision. I can't expect that we're going to cast too many blink spells.
Yep.
You know, because maybe we will though. Who knows? Gotta cut something, right? And the blink seems to be like the weaker part of the deck. The artifacts here, these all look fine. So the Dementia's probably the worst one, but it's still fine. And I'm in love with these enchantments, so I don't think I want to take any of them.
Yeah, we're good at our land counts where we want to be.
Yeah, I think 36 is the right number with the MDFCs. MDFCs are broken. Also, with just that, we have really good fixing here for the 2-color deck, which is nice.
Okay.
Even in a budget land base, more budget land base. Wouldn't call it totally budget land base. So we just gotta cut 2 more. That's not too bad.
All right, what do we got? What do we have that's a boom boom that we're less crazy about?
Let's see. So let's just talk about it. Exile top 8,
That
get free
one's
stuff.
awesome.
This one is roll 2 d8s, cast instant sorcery, mana value less than or equal to the result from your hand without paying its mana cost.
That one might be the weakest one. Because, all right, let's talk about this for a second.
Roll 2 d8s. Okay,
All right.
roll 2 d8s. I got a 2 and a 6.
Okay. Do you want to draw 6 and play a free 2-drop? Or do you want to draw 2 and play a free 6-drop?
I'd rather do draw 2 and play a free 6-drop because that's cheating on mana, which is what I want to do.
Is that worth 7 mana?
The problem with this card is it has the high ceiling, low floor problem.
Yeah, I think this
And
one.
you know how much I don't like low floors on cards.
I think this one maybe bites the dust.
It is a fun card, though, for sure. I think it's definitely reasonable. The cool thing about a deck like this, too, and we were telling this to our buddy John this week, is that, like, you could just play a deck shell that you really like and just have, like, 80 cards. You can just put, like, any random 20 of them in.
Right.
At any time.
These-
Here's my deck box with my shell, and then the shell is 80 cards, but then there's this other stack of 80 cards, and I can just pick any random 20. And it'll be
40 goofy sorceries.
goofy spells that just warp
Pull
games.
all the sorceries out. Here's more sorceries.
John just asked in our group text, is Rurik Thar a fair commander? And I say, yes, it is. YouTube, Twitch, it's the fairest commander because it says everyone takes damage.
Yes.
Play Rurik Thar. He's awesome.
Mnemonic Deluge.
They are awesome.
Mnemonic Deluge is a...
This card's way too good in this deck.
Yeah.
Copy any one of these 3 times.
I like to cast Army of the Damned
three times. I would like to make almost 40 zombies. Cast even bribery 3 times is fine.
Yeah, bribery.
You and you and you. That's how you get 3 briberies, Steve. That's how you do it.
Fair.
I'm gonna cast this Temple of Reflections 3 times. Even just hitting one of the clone spells, that was totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Also, removal spell, hitting it 3 times is great. Draw spells, clones, yeah, I think they're all reasonable. The Ghostly Flicker feels like the worst card out of all these to me.
Okay.
I mean, it's fine. It's a flicker spell, but like we're not doing degenerate things with it. And
Right, which is what's fun.
It's the fairest card that we're using, or it's the fairest blink spell that we're using. So, to me, I'm totally cool with just shipping that away and then balancing the mana out and calling this one.
Sounds good. I think I will continue to look for another 2 creature or more reanimate spell that I have not found, but I will when I go digging. Yeah. That I would put into here, probably for my Brew of it specifically. Maybe just cut one of the 1 mana, bring your thing back spells for that.
I'm disappointed that we did not cross the 300 mana value threshold.
300?
6 9-mana spells,
right.
4 8 manas, 4
your land
7s.
base.
Yeah, I think this is fine. We got 9 1 manas and 13 2 manas.
Yep, sounds like a deck we would build.
I'm going to go with, this is almost, it's a little more than twice what the black is, but because we're playing the 1 Tainted, we'll leave the black there. So I'm going to do -3 plus 3, probably.
Okay.
-4 plus 4.
3 or 4, one or the other.
Yeah. Well, we also have the MDFCs. There's 2 blue ones and a black one.
Yep.
Right? Blue,
Yep.
Oh, this is an MDFC. Here we go. Yeah, this is a blue in the backside. So let's go ahead and...
Because the black MDFC that reanimates is an X spell, correct?
Yes. Black, X.
No X's for
And it's
us.
not even that good for us. This could be well. If I do it this way.
There's a fast key for it.
There is? Alt 2.
There you go.
Alt 2.
Did we just hover over it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know what the... Yoo-hoo. Ooh, thank you.
Alt 1.
Okie day. 11 and 4 sounds wrong to me. I'm gonna go 10-5. Just doesn't... Something about like...
Those numbers don't
Those
work.
numbers just don't jive in my brain.
Alright.
Listen, I've been building decks a long time. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you work out the numbers in your head, they sound right, but they don't look right.
That's a big spread.
Because here's why. I'm going to get my opening hand. It's got like 3 islands and no swamps. I'm going to be super angry.
Yeah.
I think 10-5 is fine. That's about, I mean, it's 50% more. It's 200% of swamps. That's what I meant to say. And this is about 200% of that. So I think it's reasonable. And, yeah, this hand looks fine. I'm going to draw some lands. Oh, we're screwed. I lost the game with that hand. Oh, yeah, mulliganing is going to be really important with this deck.
You want to make sure you can catch Commander.
Yep, you just got to be able to catch your commander here. This is okay. So put this on blue, this on black, play this on 2. Hope we get another land by 3.
I'll draw, hit and draw. Yep, you're fine.
Be alright.
Yep.
Ooh, I really like this hand. Protection for the commander. No ramp, though. It's one of the things I'm missing here. The Tainted... Actually, this hand sucks. This is the worst hand ever.
Yeah.
This is a sneaky,
Those lands,
bad hand.
Those lands suck.
This is a enters the battlefield tapped black land that you lose your Malekith Rebirth. This is a Tainted Island, doesn't tap for black, and this has to enter tapped. Sadly,
lands, ramp.
it's 3 lands. 1, 2, 3 ramp, Swiftfoot Boots, a reanimation. But yeah, I think this is fine. Draw.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to cast Commander by now. Yep. So there you go. 1, 2, 3. And you put back Breach the Multiverse, Blatant Thievery, any of these. You can put like Seagate if you haven't used it by then.
Yep.
Oop, that's not the right button. But that's all I have for tonight, I think.
I think it looks great.
We're gonna just clone our commander a bunch. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Oh, we got D-Mox in the house. Saying hi from the other coast.
Evening,
Marcus, our buddy, our brewing buddy from Seattle. Hey Marcus, I heard you put on a sweet event over in Seattle, man. Thanks for putting that together. That was sounds awesome, man. He did his own EDH tournament inside of Command Fest Seattle. He TO'd the thing, put it together.
Oh, that's
just
sweet,
did,
man. Nice job on
that. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. So I saw Cyrus shouted him out today online for doing a good job.
Well, sweet, man. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was. I bet it was a great time. I'm glad you like this one, D-Mog. Yeah, this just seems like a fun, wacky commander. We built it more in a casual environment for fun, but I'm sure you could lean this out to be a little bit more chutzpah, if you will. But I think that's all for me and Steve tonight. Coming at you from the Library of Dang. We've been Alter of the Brew.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Be safe, everyone. See you next Monday, hopefully. We have a lot of dead clones.